Some examples of user storylines that Triple H dropped for no reason. I mean, that is a lot. 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion. You know what we need? We need budget cuts. Welcome back to another Reddit video. Drop like, drop subscribe, drop love, hugs, peace, pleasure. Be nice today. Be nice today to your tribal forehead. Be a good forehead maniac. At this point, I should drop merch and it's just simply a blue hoodie and something there, right? Let me know what it should say. So let's talk about all of these storylines. CM Punk and LA Knight still might happen in the future. I don't know, but they were kinda in a storyline. It was more against, other people against the Vision, but I still wish we actually got CM Punk versus LA Knight one-on-one. The promo work could have been absolutely insane. So WWE might revisit that. It's just that one of them should probably turn heel by this point. Okay, we have the other one. Tama Tonga versus Ilya. Good. Don't necessarily care about that one. It is kinda weird though that WWE just dropped it for no reason. He was looking at that United States Championship, but that was during his open challenge, I believe, so, We also have Bayley. I don't think they dropped this storyline. She was crazy, she became crazy, now she's in a tag team with Lyra, so it kinda makes sense. AJ Styles versus Braun Breaker. I think we got that match, I don't even know at this point. Well, I think that was about it. To be fair, AJ Styles decided to retire, so maybe it was in the plans, but this was February of 2025. Okay, you're up to something. Charlotte Flair and Jade, yeah, that didn't necessarily happen. What else? Nikki Bella and Liv Morgan. I think Nikki got injured right around that time. I could be definitely wrong. Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu, yes, that was teased. Didn't happen for whatever reason, and I think it will happen in the future. It's one of these possible WrestleMania main events. Well, we just gotta wait. Logan Paul and CM Punk. People are going to say, well, that's trash. I wanna see that. We got a few interactions, and it was absolutely hilarious watching CM Punk roasting the shit out of Logan Paul. It's almost like a perfect storyline in a weird way. I can't really explain, just a perfect side storyline for a B-level pay-per-view. Asuka and Kairi Sane, well, that is the most recent one and kind of tells you these WWE releases were kind of random. They didn't even finish the storylines. The point was Kairi Sane finally turns on Asuka, and it didn't happen. Which one's your favorite? So we have the World and the WWE Championships in this picture. We have some beautiful titles. Can you spot the difference? Can you spot the change? Can you spot WWE becoming corporate ass fucking greedy ass sons of bitches? Can you spot that? Because look, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4. I can count to 5, so I'm good. 4. That's 4 championships that look absolutely wonderful. Then we get the spinner belt. Mixed reactions. Kinda grew on me. Nostalgia is one hell of a drug. And then every WWE title outside of the World Championship, which is still kinda beautiful, is basically the same. My theory, people, I talked about this before. The WWE title is never changing. They finally nailed it. It's just a logo. It's as corporate as it gets, so the championship design is never changing, in my opinion. I think you all know my answer, right? So it's pretty obvious. It's the Big Gold, the first version of the Big Gold. I also really like, now this is an unpopular opinion, a bit of a hot take that could get me in trouble, could get me sued by wrestling marks. A lot of people are saying the first championship, the Winged Eagle, is the most beautiful WWE title ever. Some people are saying it's the Undisputed Championship. Now what is the most important opinion? I think the Big Eagle, the second championship, is actually the most beautiful WWE title we had. I think so. I think it looks a bit more major than the Winged Eagle Championship. I really love it. Spoiler for Jacob versus Roman at Backlash, kinda. While Jacob single-handedly take out MFT, not to mention 2 of them were released, this leaves Solo on his own. I can see the possibility of Solo crawl back to Roman's bloodline to get revenge on Jacob. I know this sounds dumb, but seems like WWE wanted to revive the OG bloodline in full force. This does not sound dumb. Nothing sounds dumb. On the Great One subreddit, we go wild for Hedomaniacs. This actually makes a lot of sense because look, people, I'm watching SmackDown SmackDown, it's a filler for Monday Night Raw. The story is Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. Why is Solo there? So at least, if you're right on this theory, at least it makes sense. At least I can understand, well, that's why Solo Sikoa is involved so much in the story. I'm not saying I really want that or care about that, unless the story is gonna be good. But at least it would explain why Jacob Fatu is feuding with Solo Sikoa. He's feuding with the Usos, and they're involved more than Roman Reigns at this point. So I don't think it's that crazy of a theory. Seth Rollins had the best reign as World Heavyweight Champion. Agree or disagree? I think in theory, you're absolutely right. Look at the amount of championship defenses. He's like synonymous with that championship at this point, right? The one I appreciated the most, I was excited about the most, was probably CM Punk's, even though it was a bit short compared to the amount of defenses Seth Rollins had. But CM Punk's World Championship defenses felt important to me. The Finn Balor match, the Roman Reigns match. So maybe it's just recent bias, but I really liked CM Punk as a World Heavyweight Champion. I wish I got more of Drew McIntyre, but I got a whole 6 or 5 minutes or whatever that was. Thank you, Kofi Kingston. Now, this man achieved a lot in the WWE, man. So I started watching in 2004. He debuted in like 2008, I believe. I can tell because he was in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. So he had a great career. Multi-time tag team champ. He was already a big mid-carder, but then reinvented himself in the New Day, became the WWE champion. What a beautiful moment. I like the way he looks with the Intercontinental Championship, the white one. I miss that championship, man. Yep, thank you, Kofi Kingston. A man no wrestler has anything bad to say about. I'm gonna miss him. But I'm also kinda, in a weird way, happy for the New Day because I believe they're gonna make more money. They're gonna be really valued anywhere else because they're a big tag team and people might forget because for the past few years, WWE used them as nostalgia acts, but they were a huge deal. TKO WWE ruined this guy's reputation for no reason with the fans in a terrible storyline. This is so spot on, people, because I know some people never really liked Pat McAfee. I never really had a problem with him. He loves professional wrestling, he's energetic, and maybe that certain energy is not for everybody, but I appreciate parts of it, even in matches. I was like, well, this guy cares about it, he moves decent enough, whatever. He's charismatic. When he cuts that promo, you feel it. The promos on Gunther were actually not that bad when you think about it, but WWE ruined his reputation, and it's probably not even his fault. Obviously, he could have said no, but at the end of the day, he's not part of creative. WWE did this, right? So, yeah, they kind of ruined his reputation. At one point, people missed him. When he announced he's gonna be off commentary, people were kind of disappointed. And now, nobody wants him back. So, yes, TKO, WWE, WTF definitely ruined his reputation. So, if he comes back to the WWE, I think we need more time, right? He can return, he can be entertaining. But unless it's this big WWE versus TKO storyline, the roster is split, which was the idea, I feel like. That's what we wanted, and we didn't get that. We don't want that unless we get this storyline. Are we really sacrificing Gunther's first loss just to give Cody a filler feud before Randy Orton comes back into the picture? That is such a good point. So we don't necessarily know when this match is going to happen. Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. Some are speculating Backlash, some are speculating Night of Champions, some are speculating Clash in Italy or whatever it's called. The fact of the matter is, Gunther is not winning the championship. So in a way, I'm excited about the match. I really am. But, I feel like you could easily fix that. Gunther shouldn't lose. He doesn't need to lose if Randy Orton interferes and the match ends in no contest. So technically, Gunther is not the loser. Randy Orton is back and we get the match. Where is Randy Orton, by the way? I keep asking the same question. I feel like by the time Randy Orton comes back, nobody will even care about Cody versus Randy because it's already ruined. Will they be able to tell the real story right now after everything that happened? Like, Orton right now in story looks like an idiot. He used Pat McAfee and then said, I'll just RKO his ass and I'll lose the match. Come on. But Gunther challenging Cody Rhodes, that came out of nowhere in my opinion. Didn't expect to see that happening. Still, maybe he's not even losing. What if Gunther actually wins the championship? Right? So at least this match has this little unpredictability because it's Gunther, he doesn't lose. It's Cody, he's not losing the championship, so what do? Even Hulk Hogan has a more recent match on Raw than Brock Lesnar. Brother! Okay, that's kind of crazy. But people, you need to realize, you need to realize, I think there's one episode of Raw where Brock Lesnar was about to wrestle, but of course it ended in shenanigans. He was in his gear, and that was like back in 2000 and I don't even know, man, 18, 16, 17, one of these years, maybe 19, maybe even before that. So it was advertised, Brock is wrestling, and he didn't. But also, he wrestled on SmackDown. A spectacular match. Quality or quantity? That is the question I'm asking. It was a 9-second match. I made a video actually about that entire episode. It's on my main channel. Make sure to check it out. Pretty decent video, I think. So yes, Brock Lesnar did wrestle for 9 seconds. Technically, it's a match, but it's less physicality than Brock Lesnar had in backstage, brawls. There is only one person I want to tag with Danhausen. That would make a lot of sense. He feels like Kit Wilson betrayed him, and I would like the story. I think Kit Wilson on his own is a lot more entertaining, which is kind of weird. But people, I don't see WWE doing this big tease, who's the surprise, partner, and it's just simply this. Elton Prince is the surprise return partner, whatever you want to call it, the mystery. I don't see WWE doing that. The fans would be excited, the hardcore wrestling fans, but when it comes to WWE, I think it's gonna be Joe Hendry probably. On my main channel, I also talked about how it could be John Cena, but not in a match. Somehow he's gonna get involved because there's this big story at WrestleMania. Not a big story, but we got the segment Cena, Danhausen, Kit Wilson, Miz, all that stuff, right? With Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods leaving WWE, I would like to ask you, what is your favorite memory of the New Day? Mine was when Kofi won the WWE Championship. Well, that is the answer. Now look, the New Day had a bunch of great moments. To me, the New Day I remember, I appreciated was in the beginning especially. The matches. The amount of good matches we used to get and felt like, okay, the tag team wrestling is back. Of course, the rivalry against the Usos, that one Hell in a Cell match. So they were just kind of a total package when it comes to tag teams. They were great promos. All of them were really charismatic. All of them had that singles, potential. Big E and Kofi became WWE champions, of course. And also, they were good in the ring. So tag team wrestling felt like it was back. But yes, Kofi winning the WWE championship, it was just absolutely beautiful. One of these moments where wrestling fans cried. Kofi Kingston, somebody we watched in like 2009, saw him as a mid-carder. All of a sudden, hard work pays off. And I talked about it, but the championship title reign wasn't even that bad when you think about it. Samoa Joe, I believe, Randy, Ziggler, these were some decent matches, if I remember correctly. Some decent promos. It's just the way it ended, that ruined it. I watched WWE in the early 2000s and 2010s and tried to get back into it before WrestleMania, and because of this guy was on the phone call, I'm gonna retire from watching WWE again. And that's kind of weird because the entire plan is to get more WWE fans to... how do you put this out of it? To grow the WWE universe. That's the idea, that's the point. We need new fans. Well, the old fans watch this shit and say, well, I'll stick to not watching. Man, every time I see these pictures, these promos of that certain era that happened like weeks ago, look, every week is a new era according to Triple H, right? WCW 2000. I've watched a lot of documentaries, right? A lot of documentaries about a lot of certain things, cults, whatever you want to call it. It's interesting, it's fascinating, right? In the beginning, it's always really good. And then it all turns into WCW 2000, right? Where it's like, holy shit, when you look at the beginning, you look at the end, it's a completely different thing. I hope that's not the case with the WWE, man. I really hope that's not the case. When you look at WrestleMania 40 build and what is happening right now, it certainly feels like we used to have it so good. And then, the fall of the WWE began. That's how I feel lately. Thank you for watching this video. Go to work, make some posts. The Great One, peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.